It's a good wind. It's a good wind. Hello and welcome to the show. This is the Goodwind podcast, and I am Niko LaPelusa, your host. And that was an intro. That was an intro done by friend of the show, Eric. Thank you so much. He goes by Hiron. You can check him out in the comments. Reach out to him. You guys want a more formal show? I get it. I want a more formal show too. I want it to be proper as heck, with a nice intro, clean outro. Chop it up with some graphics. I'm in for that. I really am. I'm seeking a producer. If you're a producer and you like the show, you like what I got going on TikTok and here, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, reach out. I'm looking for collaboration and I'm looking to expand the show. And I like that intro, man. That when he sent me that, I was it's the good win. That's good. I'm gonna roll with that. Maybe make it a little like mastered or something. See, that's the thing. I don't know much about audio, what have yous, or what have you nots. I don't know about audios. I don't know how to, fine tune the show. I don't have a soundboard. Don't have a graphics guy. I don't have a young Jamie. It's me. And I'm going to keep going with this thing. So, heck, something will come out of it eventually. And a lot has already come out of it. I've already appreciated so much of being able to share and articulate my points, my thoughts, but also the feedback and people reaching out and letting me know what they like about the show and what they don't like and what's impacted them. I've had really good conversations stir up with people near and far about what I've talked about on the show, where they've agreed, where they've seen faults, and it's been a nice little growing pattern. So onward. So it's the new year, and there's this phenomenon happening in my life. It's not a phenomenon. It's pretty usual. But it happens and it feels like shit, and that is ghosting. Ghosting's real. And it's sad. It's sad. And it doesn't always make sense. And okay, so it would be one thing if I got ghosted by one person. But I've been ghosted by 5 or 6 people in the past 5 days. Just we'll be in conversation, business, friendship, anyone, people through the internet. We'll be in conversation, and then the conversation we'll wrap up for the day. And then I'll follow up per what we talked about before. So I guess I got to give an example. One of my friends reached out to me, "Hey, how you doing?" I think an hour later, I said, "Yo, what's up?" I said, "Sup." "Yo, sup." No response. That's fine. No response for a day. It's fine. No response for 2 days. Okay. Forgot. We're friends. It's okay. I give him a call. It's like, oh, he checked in on me. I check in on him. No answer. No call back. For why? You reached out to ask me how I'm doing, and I responded. Maybe it was my response of sup. Maybe that wasn't from the heart enough, and that was a repellent for the situation. Situation number 2. There's someone who has a mushroom cultivating. They work for a mushroom cultivation company in Chicago. It's been a low-key passion of mine. I've cultivated psilocybin mushrooms before using the PF Tech method. If you're unaware of mushroom cultivation and you're interested, you can. Okay, I'll do a little plug. There's something called the PF Tech method. And the PF Tech method is basically you need mason jars, vermiculite, brown rice flour. And that's basically, that's your substrate. And then you need the spores of the mushrooms. And then the rest of the equipment you need is basically sterilization equipment. Because you need a very clean environment. If you've never grown mushrooms before, so out of the 10 jars that I cultivated, 3 of them got mold or bacteria. It's hard to say. Mold or bacteria, they were infected. 3 of them didn't grow. Maybe 2 of them didn't grow. And then 2 or 3 of them did grow. 3 or 4. And I produced some, I don't know, 60 grams of wet mushrooms, maybe dried about 20 grams. So decent, like a decent flush, a decent time. So you take these, so the PF Tech method is basically you take this vermiculite, this brown rice flour, you put it in a mason. Oh no, the mason jars you have to sterilize completely. So you do it in a pressure cooker, an autoclave, and that's like a big expense, getting the pressure cooker and making sure they're completely sterilized. Now people don't do pressure cookers, they just do boiling water, and disinfectant soap and just do a really good clean on it. And I wonder what the level of contamination, how it drops when using a pressure cooker. I haven't run that experiment enough times. So you sterilize the jars, you pack it with the substrate, you put some tinfoil on the top, and then you inject the spores into it, seal up the holes, and put it in an incubation chamber. Incubation chamber, you want it like 70 degrees, I'm estimating here, depending on the strain of mushrooms. And you want a humidity of a certain amount too. So I basically put it in a cooler, and I mist the cooler once a day. And then all of a sudden you'll notice that the brown rice flour that's in there all of a sudden becomes white. That's the mycelium. So what grows before mushrooms is their root system. The root system of mushrooms is mycelium. And there's a huge network underground. Before you ever see a mushroom fruiting, you see it, or its mycelium is there, forming a web under the underground. And this mycelium is supposedly like the bee's knees. It helps nutrient transfer and helps communication between trees. Like trees communicate using mycelial networks in like old growth forests, like Avatar shit. Like trees talking to each other in their way, in their tree way, exchanging nutrients through these mycelial networks. Like mushrooms are the foundation of the forest. It's like mushrooms are so important for the health of an ecosystem. And we humans are closer to fungi than we are to plants. We are basically mushrooms. Mushrooms breathe in oxygen and they exhale carbon dioxide. Trees breathe in the opposite. They breathe in carbon dioxide, they exhale oxygen. So I love mushrooms. That's basically my point. And after the mycelial network takes over the jar, the whole jar becomes white. Then you put it in a fruiting chamber. You uncap the mycelial, you uncap the jar. And then that's when you really start misting them. And there's a certain amount of light exposure that's sometimes good depending on the types of mushrooms. And the moisture with the light stimulates fruiting. And it is so beautiful when you see mushrooms fruit for some reason. Like the first flush too, because the mushrooms will fruit, your jar will be full. They have huge, beautiful mushrooms, like a bouquet of mushrooms. You'll cut them out, and you'll save them. You'll eat them wet, or you'll prepare them for drying, so you can store them over long periods of times. And then the jar will flush, create 2 more or 3 more, 4 more rounds of mushrooms. Each flush becoming less and less in terms of weight produced and yield produced. And it's a really fun little thing. Also, a side note, if you don't want to go through the whole sterilization process of the jars, you don't want to pack the jars with vermiculite, you want to save $300 on the front end, not buying a pressure cooker, not buying the vermiculite, the organic brown rice flour, the jars. There's a place called Midwest Grow Kits, if you're in the Midwest, which will send you sterilized bags and sterilized jars that all you have to do is inoculate. All you have to do is inject spores into the pre-sterilized and packed jars that they supply you. And then you do the incubation period where the mycelium has to grow, and then you do the fruiting period. Now, I haven't tried this yet, but it's been recommended to me, and I think they do such a good job that your yields tend to be a little bit higher. And the cost isn't that much too. I think it's like $5 a jar, and each jar, like I said, can produce maybe done right can produce 10 grams of dried maybe 40 grams of wet mushrooms, depending on your strain and your type. So there's your mushroom growing tutorial. So I'm passionate about mushrooms, okay? And I reach out. Now it's a woman. I reach out to this woman, and she posted on Facebook, "Hey, I grew these lion's mane, I think turkey tail, and maybe cordyceps, maybe not." And I'm like, shit, that's what I want to learn how to grow that. It's a slightly different grow technique for those types of mushrooms. Lion's mane need a particular amount of space. And I've never done the tray method either, which I saw that she was using. And I reached out, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I'm interested in learning more about this. She's like, great, I actually work for a grow company in Chicago. Why don't we set up a time to meet? We can go over it. Bada bing, bada bing, bada boom. And I said, great, let's do Friday. Yes. 9:30, okay. So Friday comes, I wake up at 7 to get ready. I text, hey, I have been called into work. We have to reschedule. That's fine. Let's do Sunday. Thanks for your flexibility. I'll see you Sunday. Sunday comes around. Hey, I'm on the way. I got this feeling. Now, should I have just shown up? I had the address. I had the time. Should I have just shown up? Maybe. No, I didn't have the time. I only had the address and the day. And the night before, I'm like, does 10:30 work? Ghost. The next day comes. I text her, did you get my message yesterday? Ghost. Now, 3 days later, I'm in Chicago for jiu-jitsu. I'm in the general area that we were planning to meet up. I texted her before the jiu-jitsu, so it gave her like a 3 or 4 hour head start. Hey, I'm in your area. I'll be in the area for 4 or 5 hours. Is today? Can we meet up today? Ghost. And unsure why. I feel like was there something there energetically? Am I thinking too much about it? Maybe. But the only reason I'm thinking about it is because it's been compounded with 3 or 4 other ghostings. So I just gave you 2. A third one, I met someone at the peyote ceremony. We talked about collaborating on bringing someone to the Midwest to serve medicine. And they shared beautiful songs. I liked them. It was kind of like I want to be their friend. I want to get to know them. There's a want there. Like I admire them. I admire them. All these people I admire. And it seems like there's an admiration where I kind of want something. I want the relationship to flourish or blossom, or I want something out of it. And I'm in this period where that's not being rewarded. I'm kind of being like subtly told to either appreciate the relationships I do have and just focus on those, or a period of being alone, of just embracing aloneness. And this ghosting was happening during a fast. I did the 4-day fast. Oh yeah, a little recap. I did the 4-day fast and I came out the other end. Okay, little side note. I broke the fast and I cooked a stew to break the fast. A stew that I really like to cook. That's what I've talked about in this podcast before. I just keep making that fucking stew. And maybe one day I'll get really good at it. But I cooked this stew and I used roast meat, and very long story short, I didn't cook it long enough. So it was a tough meat stew. And there's so much flavor in it. There's acidity from tomatoes, wine, there's salt, lots of seeds like rosemary, garlic, onion, powerful flavors. I add a little bit of honey. There's a lot going on. And I broke my 4-day fast by eating beef stew and stale bread, which was so disappointing. I was so looking forward to food, and then I make this stew that just doesn't turn out right, and then we're eating stale maggoty bread. All we got is just maggoty bread. It's like shit. I thought my return to food was going to be much more luxurious and grand than this. And it wasn't. But not only that, I ate it, and I ate 2 bowls of the stew because my mind was like lit from it, but my stomach wasn't ready to handle that. And so I had to go upstairs at like 7 p.m. and just lay in my bed in a dark room. I couldn't even turn on like TV, no distraction, just pure focus on the pain I've accumulated in my stomach. It wasn't pain. It was just a lot with all those different flavors. I think I should have broke it with, some fruit, some flavorless oatmeal, maybe meat, but like not heavily seasoned and intertwined with all these acids and stuff. So I kind of got treated when I broke my fast. And all this ghosting's happening in my fast. I'm like, well, maybe it's just my time to like release everything, focus on myself. And when I break the fast, I'll have more energy. I'll be putting better energy out there, and too metaphysical, I'm thinking about it too much. It's just and then my cousin ghosts me. My aunt's talking shit about me to my grandma. It's just, a week. It's been a tough week. It has. It's been a tough social week. And yet there's some beauty there too. There has been there's just been people that I still do have going on, and I think that's maybe the takeaway. Part of me is like, do I reach out to these people and let them know that I think they're like, I think I just gotta give them a piece of my mind, but in a way where it's not like, it's not so harmful. Like I want to reach out to the mushroom lady and be like, ghosting is unprofessional. And then the other, or something like that. Just something like, you hurt my feelings. Ouch. Why? A why wouldn't work. A why wouldn't work. But I think like at some point I kind of just want like some acknowledgement. It's so crazy. Like there's a part of me that's like, well, I want to just throw over a little missile. Be like, fuck you. No, fuck you. I'd rather get because that would be a response. As opposed to ghosting. Ugh. Yeah, it's just the indifference feels sad. And social media hasn't been doing it for me lately. I've been going on and it's like, maybe we should talk about it. So the storming of the Capitol. I want to care. But there's a way that it's being presented that's making me indifferent and resentful. Indifferent, like the ghosters. But it's making me a little resentful of how it's being presented. So the Capitol got stormed in a way, and people are upset in a way because the rioters were white people with Trump flags. Now, I don't know how many people were there. I don't know how many people of those people voted for Trump. I think it was some sort of protest riot based on the presidential election. So my point is I don't really know, because I do have a degree of indifference to the situation, which is not cool. I'm not proud to be like, yeah, it doesn't affect me, so I don't care, because I know there's an effect. Just how it's being, the same memes being reproduced and repurposed. Every story is full of the same memes. Like, oh, well, you didn't shoot them. It's like, and then it's like memes like, well, we don't want you to shoot them. We just don't, we don't want to be shot like you don't shoot them. Which is the sentiment. Yes. Equality in the face of justice. Like racism is disgusting. It's such a stain. It's no way to live. It's so full of falsities and mistruths that it's so delusional and full of falsities and mistruths that I don't want to give these people anything. It's like, to me, these like people who are acting, and a lot of it probably isn't racism. A lot of it is, I didn't get my way. I don't feel heard. It's not, I hate you. This is not how I want things to go, and I feel angry, and this anger needs to get out. Rabble. Like, there wasn't any explicit racist overtones. No one was holding up like any racial slurs. There was no floats made of I can't even fucking say it. Can't even get myself to say a hypothetical float that would be racist. There were no explicit symbols of racism. Maybe besides, there was a guy wearing buffalo horns, which, look, the buffalo is a staple of the native peoples of this land. The native peoples of this land were people are brown. Now, when white people, Europeans came over here, I'm sure they also wore animal pelts as well in the winter. But yeah, I think he was wearing like kind of like painted face Native American garb. Now, not people. This was day 2 of the fast. And when the riots happened. What I did on that day, after work, I didn't work out. What I did on that day was this. If you're just listening, I'm sorry, I'll describe it to you. I'm doing an art piece. This art piece is an American bison. And this American bison has a teepee fixed on its forehead, and it has peyote cactuses growing from its forehead. Growing from the top of its head. I was drawing this. I was inspired to draw it because if you've listened to the show before, you know my mission to help restore the American buffalo population back to the Great Plains. Why? Because Packard animals feed the soil with their shit. They eat the grasslands to help nutrients return to the soil. Monocropped land has taken nutrition away from the soil. We need to put it back in. We put it back in with poo, particularly of these huge pack herding animals who shit on the ground and stomp it into the ground, refeeding the soil, regenerating it. It has been shown to reverse desertification, repair soil, land, water. Now, this bringing the bison back is also a wish of the Lakota and tribes nations, who I sit in ceremony that has been passed down by Navajo, by Native peoples, non-European Native peoples. So I'm drawing this buffalo, this American bison, coloring it in, starting to color it in. Check my social media to see a guy wearing an American buffalo hat storming the Capitol. I don't know what to do with these reflections. It's like, is this buffalo, is my mission to restore the bison a mockery of the Native peoples? Is it storming the Capitol? Is it bringing back down European tyranny? Is that how we're restoring balance? My mission is to restore balance to the world by bringing these bison back. Is this a step in restoring the bison population? By seeing the mockery of the U.S. institution, the mega government institution, the Roman inherited forms of government? So I'm just seeing this, and there's no one to tell about this, really. I mean, you guys, but it's just so hard to see this reflection and remain silent. Maybe I could have made a little post, working on that. I don't know. It's just a very, very strange reflection. But the angst that I see from I don't know, I'm just a little tired of people posting the same memes loaded with sarcasm, loaded with angst. Oh, so this is how you stop police brutality. It's like, it's not the way. It is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. And I see that. I want to see people looking into the camera and saying how they feel, instead of just sharing memes that someone else made. Yep, this is me. This is how I feel. And it's It's a mask of sarcasm and satire, which, look, the reflection's clear. I use satire. I use like a stern comedy interwoven into these podcasts. And I do it because if it was all serious, I would be taking myself too serious. There is a balance there. I'd like to see people be more authentic. I'd like to see people not ghost. If you don't want to talk to me, I don't want to talk to you. I can so respect that. If anyone's had the bravery to tell me how they feel, respect has followed. Really, it's really not what they've said. It's the fact that they've been able to be vulnerable and authentic with me. I've appreciated, man, just every time. I can do it. And to not respond to me, to just not even say, I'm not comfortable meeting, whatever it is. I'm making assumptions at this point. It's like, I don't have time till next year and it's probably never going to happen. Fine. If that's true, fine. You don't have time till next year. That's another thing. People got fucking time. That's the troubling part with ghosting. It's like, look, I'm going through, people have fucking time. I have 50 inboxes. I do jujitsu. I play guitar. I make a podcast. I work for an agricultural company. I draw. I hang out with family. I take care of a dog. I eat. I have a girlfriend. I take care of her. I plan trips. And I still respond to every single person who writes me. I feel shitty having to just said that list of stuff, but you have time. You do. And people say, well, no answer is an answer. It's not. It's not. It's laziness, it's indifference, and I guess it'll be returned to you, or it's been given to you. That indifference has been given. And maybe this is all about the indifference that I feel towards the strife. It's not an indifference. I don't feel indifferent to the strife and the riots and the protests. But my actions don't say that I don't go to these protests. On either side. I don't repost Fox News or CNN clips about the protests. I don't repost memes of people making jokes or being satirical or being angsty. Particularly people that have never felt that angst. It's like, okay, yoga teacher from South Dakota, Minnesota, Chicago. I like your yoga class. But, have you felt the discrimination on a daily basis? And the answer is yes, too. Look, no one gets out of this life alive not feeling wronged, not feeling discriminated against. How much do we separate out people's pain, and do we parcel out people's pain and put it on a hierarchy? How much do we do this? How much is it necessary? How much is my pain your pain? I think in the truth of the matter, my pain is your pain is my pain. I know, I have felt in my heart that we all rise together. I've felt that we all rise only together. Does that mean we all fall together? That hasn't been so clear. I know it's important to help people up. But how much do I let myself be pulled down? How much do I have to be invalidated for someone else to feel validated? The answer is zero. The answer is zero. So to constantly see these memes of the invalidation of me, white man, white, cis, heteronormative man. It's like, I'm not going to lower myself to build you up. It's not even that. I'll humble myself, but I'm not going to fucking let you step on my face to climb over the fence. If you see that I'm perceived over a fence, I'm going to reach an arm down. I'm going to build a fucking ladder so I can climb down and help you climb up. But it doesn't involve me shitting on myself and ruining this existence and this opportunity at life that I've been given that I didn't fucking choose, okay? And if I did, I'm thankful for what I chose. I'm so fortunate in so many ways. I'm so fortunate. And I think that's enough to acknowledge. And I actually don't think people want me to shit on myself or tear myself down. Maybe some do. But those people aren't in the know. They're not, they're not of right mind. Just this angst. People, I want to see people speak their truth and not default to memes to do their talking for them. You can, some memes are funny as fuck. I love memes. I can probably incorporate some memes into the content that I produce, but I won't stop speaking my truth in an authentic way. And I don't give a shit about people storming the Capitol. I'm glad they didn't get fucked up. I don't agree with what they're standing for. I agree with their right to do so. And it was much smaller affair than the protests of BLM this year. BLM was worldwide. This was a very concentrated thing focused on in Washington, D.C., from my understanding. So that being said, there was less likely chance of shit popping off. And I don't trust what I see on these news channels. I can't even watch them for a second. Maybe a second. But it's like, you'll turn on CNN and there's a shitty person waving a shitty flag. And then you'll turn on Fox News and then there's another shitty person waving an opposite shitty flag. And they're just showing you the shit of both sides. And then whatever you want to pick is, look, this is the same shit. I'm doing it now. I feel like I'm participating in the news. And this is why I don't really do this. I try to focus on, sharing stories and sharing, personal things that I'm going through with the hopes of giving people courage to be authentic within themselves. But enough is enough, Enough is enough. Wake up, world. If I can draw a bison, and then a man on the TV sweeps the nation in a bison mask, then maybe asking people to wake up and take responsibility will cause it. Maybe my aunt will stop blaming things that happened 50 years ago for reasons why she can't move forward in a relationship. Maybe I'll do the same. Maybe I can move forward with a little bit more grace, a little more awake. Take responsibility. I'm not saying pull yourself up by your bootstraps. We're all helping each other. Taking responsibility means taking responsibility for helping when you can, for helping your neighbor, for saying fucking hi to your neighbors, for walking into a new place and as a elder of the place, saying hi to people. I see you. Do you see you? 'Cause I do. Oh, he sees me. They see me. Maybe I can see me. Frustrated. I'm frustrated these past 4 or 5 days. Answer people. When you can, when they've shown you no ill will in the past, when they've only been polite, answer people. And maybe don't. What do I know? I'm probably learning something I don't even know yet. There's a meaning to all this ghosting. There's a reason some people don't, come into your life. I get discouraged that effort seems to defeat itself sometimes. It's like you think that effort, putting energy towards a system, is what empowers it. But it's withdrawing energy from a system sometimes empowers it. And there doesn't seem to be a rhyme or reason, a scientific, logical thing to it. Particularly when working interpersonally, working with someone else's experience. There's just no sense of control, And that's a fucking good thing. That's a fucking good thing. That there's no sense of control when working with other people. It's the denial of that. It's literally the denial of that has started every fucked up thing is based on that. Every woman, man that's been beaten, boy, girl that's been beaten, is because someone has felt out of control and they wanted to control. Anyone who's been enslaved, anyone that has been overcome by brute force, is because the person wasn't willing to accept that there is no control over another person. And I think it's time that I accept it too. I was hoping I was going to say that and then all 5 people were going to message me. Ding, 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 ding. Validation from the universe. Huzzah! But it didn't happen. Because that would still mean I'm trying to control the situation with that sneaky shit. Like playing reverse psychology with the universe. Oh yeah, I don't want it anymore. Universe. You know what? I don't even want it anymore, universe. Universe. This is me not wanting it. You can't play no mental games with the universe. She always knows. He always knows. They always know. There ain't no such thing as halfway crook. Yeah, there's no control over people. I can't make anyone write me back. Dang. Dang, dang, diggity, dang, dang. Dang, dang, diggity, dang, dang. Maybe this world is just a grand act of letting go after all. Ugh. Just gotta hit with a smell of spruce. from nowhere. Wow, it's powerful. Maybe the world is just a grand act of letting go. Spruce? Spruce Almighty? No, dang it. Can't control it. There's no control over this magic. I wonder what'll happen when I finish this bison drawing. You know? Maybe I just gotta finish it. Maybe that's the message. That's the best way I can contribute to the cause, is by finishing this bison drawing. Maybe that's what I'll do today. Well, thank you. I think we've had enough. Hey, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for hearing the ramblings of a semi-madman today. You hear it. I know it. And I appreciate you, especially if you make it to the end of these episodes. Man, you are my favorite. Reach out. You know what? How about this? If you made it to the end of this episode, message me saying bison cactus. Personally message me. If you have my text, personally message me bison cactus. DM on Instagram or text message, and I will send you a gift. A gift from my heart, and a gift, something. Some contribution, some thank you. It might even be money. I'm kind of thinking maybe sending people some Venmo. Throw your Venmo. Bison, cactus, and your Venmo. I don't know how to, how if someone just watches the end of this episode. Maybe that's a risk I'm willing to take. That's a tricky one. Because technically people could just share this part with other people. And then I'll just get like a bunch of messages. But that would be a good thing. Sharing the show with other people. Yeah, fuck it. We'll roll with it. Maybe I'll put a cap at like $100 or something. I don't know. But thank you for being here. My point is, thank you so much. And I want you to feel rewarded for being here. I want to give, all right? I want the opportunity to give. There are some blessed moments in life when you're given the opportunity where you can actually give. It's like, oh, fuck, thank you. A person that I can actually give something to. I have what they need, and they came up to me and asked me. That is a fucking jackpot of good feelings and serotonin. So message me. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. This has been the Goodwind. This has been the Goodwind. Whew.